Hello and welcome to Spinster's Library. I'm Claudia and this is the 8th episode in my Bookish Favourites Advent Calendar. And today I want to talk about Elsewhere by Gabrielle Zevin. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that name correctly, but let's not waste any more time on questions of pronunciation. This is one of those books that I love very, very dearly, but many other people don't. I found the average Goodreads rating for this shockingly low, and because I'm personally so close to this book, because I'm personally so attached to it, I cannot understand why everyone doesn't love it as much as I do. This is a young adult, I'm gonna call it magical realism / fantasy / contemporary novel from quite a few years ago. 2005, and that's about the time that I read it. I first read this book in a German translation as a teenager, and then later on bought the original English language edition. This is the story of a young girl named Liz. I say young girl, she's 15 and she dies at the beginning of the book. The rest of the story unfolds from her death, where she suddenly finds herself in an afterlife called Elsewhere, which is not that different from her life on Earth. So I found the idea of books set in the afterlife very intriguing. And I should mention that this is not a religious or spiritual book in any way. It really feels like a typical contemporary young adult story, a coming of age story, a story of romance, a story of friendship, a story of self-discovery, but it's set in the afterlife. And that gave it a truly magical touch for me. The topic of grief is presented in a very sensitive way, and I found that issue discussed in a very beautiful way. The writing style appealed to me very much as a teenager, and I still find it very easy to read because it combines the poetic nature of a book set after death, as you would expect, with quite a straightforward way of storytelling. I found the combination very effective and very beautiful. This is a book that I enjoy rereading because it is focused on characters. Even once you know where the story goes, you enjoy spending time in depth with the characters in this book, all of whom, as I've just mentioned, are dead. Now, this book is not without faults. Personally, the main romance, and I don't want to spoiler this book for any of you who haven't read it, I, even as a teenager, found a bit iffy. Found a bit uncomfortable, and I feel like that uncomfortableness is not discussed, is not disseminated in the book itself. So that is one caveat I have of this, but I just can't get past my own experience with this story, reading this as a 14-year-old and then discovering the original English version as well, because this was a time when I started reading more and more books in English, and one of my favorite ways of doing that was to buy a book that I already knew in German and then read it in English, and it's almost like a revelation to discover a story you know in the language that it was meant to be written in. So again, I really love this, but I hesitate to recommend it to everyone because I know that it is not to everyone's taste. However, if you're interested in stories of the afterlife, if you're interested in stories set after death, and if you like a good coming-of-age story, then give Elsewhere a go. Let me know if you've read this book and enjoyed it. Let me know if you've read this book and didn't enjoy it, and please tell me why. I'd love to know your opinion in the comments. See you tomorrow, and thank you for watching. Bye!